Welcome to 15 Minutes of Positivity. Today's Wednesday. And just a quick reminder, we get together just for a few short minutes every day to focus on these foundational skills that hopefully help us just become more proficient or more skillful at being the kind of person that we want to be in terms of our sense of gratitude or mindfulness or positivity, whatever it might be. So today's theme is in part inspired by my 15-year-old boy who's newly on a rowing team and had his one of his, I think it was his second competition this weekend. When I was speaking with him, he was talking about that he won both the fours and the eights. So again, this is a whole new world for me in terms of that kind of lingo. And one of the new terms I learned from his recounting of both of the wins that he had was, yeah, the other team, it was close, but then they crabbed. And crabbing, as I understand it, means that when, if you don't lift the oar out of the water enough and it catches while the boat's going at a really high speed, you crab it. It creates this disturbance that can actually be pretty painful because the oar hits the person in the chest, and it upsets the entire boat. And so he mentioned that we were pretty close with this other boat until they crabbed. And I mentioned to him, this is part of what happens when you're racing, right? When you're in a position where suddenly the stakes are high. And he said, yeah, we've never moved that quickly in a boat before. And part of that has to do with this mindset. When we're in the race, and it's an event, suddenly there's this whole nother level that we can get to. And that includes a nervousness, right? So not only was his boat moving faster than ever before, but clearly the other team was trying to keep up or trying to do their thing, and then at some point someone lost it, or got overwhelmed by the moment and made a mistake. And that's all part of this competitive mindset, if you will. And there are these two aspects here that I want to focus on as it relates to the work that we do for mental health. And it's this growth versus a fixed mindset, or the other term that's used for fixed mindset is a performance mindset. So there's a big difference between focusing on whatever it is, that task that we're doing, and viewing it through the lens of, I want to learn as much as I can from this experience that I'm engaging in, being it a psychedelic experience like at the clinics, the types of support that we offer, be it in a race in a rowing boat. Am I here to learn, or am I here to win and perform at a really high level? And the two seem to be in contradiction to each other. So oftentimes, if we're focused on performance and just winning and being perfect, it comes at the expense of us growing and learning and actually getting new information. And one of the champions of this distinction is this woman. Her name is Carol Dweck. She's a professor of psychology at Stanford. And this quote that I'm going to read you here is, imagine you try something, it doesn't work, and maybe even people criticize you, right? Oh, you screwed up, you crabbed, you lost it, whatever it might be. In a fixed mindset, you sit there and you say, this is over. I tried, I screwed up, I didn't perform the way that I wanted to. In a growth mindset, you look for what you've learned, and the truth is, you just don't know what your abilities are until you make a full commitment to developing them. And I like to think that's the essence of what we're embodying here is saying, let's get together on a regular basis. Let's embody this growth mindset. Let's not try to be perfect when we meditate or we practice gratitude, but let's really, activate this principle, which is we are what we repeatedly do. And what I'm suggesting is that the essence of what we're repeatedly doing here is a growth mindset. or stepping in and saying, let me see if in 10, 15 short minutes, I can learn something new about myself so that I can integrate that into my life. And so there are lots of places we can do this. So let's actually practice that right now for the remaining time. So start by closing your eyes, and as always, let's just drop into the here and now, the simplicity of just sitting here. Some of us are in chairs. I happen to be on the floor right now. Maybe some of you are in your car, hopefully pulled over the side of the road, and just notice. You're in Northern California. This is the umpteenth day that you're probably hearing and sensing and feeling rain. It's been going on for weeks now, and it's so just notice what's it like to be sitting. Maybe you can hear the rain, maybe you can feel the rain hitting your car. And so today we're going to do a bit of an experiment. I'm intentionally going to create more silence and more pauses in between talking or giving direction in this meditation. And my invitation is for you to notice, what is the narrative that your mind defaults to when you notice that your mind has wandered. So the goal is just to stay with the present moment. If we just stuck with that, that would be the performance part of it. Is your goal is just to stay open to the present moment. But invariably, because we're all human, our mind is going to kick in and it's going to wander and it's going to take us to places in the past, to places in the future. And the invitation is that when you notice that event happening, when you notice your mind wandering, see if you can adopt a growth mindset. Just allow that to happen, allow the wandering to happen, and just see what there is to learn in that moment about your mind and the nature of mind. For now, see if you can just focus on your breath, the sounds, and with the sensation of stillness right here, right now. My guess is at this point, your mind has probably wandered away from the stated goal of just being in the present moment. And that's totally normal. And just notice the difference between a performance mindset and a growth mindset. Performance being, oh, I screwed up. I'm not doing a good job. My mind wandered. And the growth mindset is more like, interesting. Where did my mind wander? When did I notice that it switched? And then gently return yourself back to just sitting, watching. Again, just noticing, where's your mind? The mind doesn't like silence. It doesn't like inactivity. It likes to be busy. And so one of the explorations in a growth mindset is to get curious about, well, what exactly is what we would call the explanatory style that my mind uses when I notice that I've drifted away from the present moment? Does it feel like failure? Does it feel like there's some sense of berating or criticism? No good at this? Or is there a curiosity there that says, wow, that's really interesting? I just went down the rabbit hole on this memory or started worrying about that. I wonder what that's all about. Silence is a kind of double edged sword. It can feel wonderful, but it can also be really challenging depending on our mindset. So go ahead, take a deep breath in. On this exhale, go ahead and open your eyes. Come on back to the session. Hope this hope this is useful, and maybe if you can find some time throughout the rest of your day, even just for a couple of minutes of this kind of silence. And before you start, maybe set the intention and as to whether or not you're going to try to be perfect or really good at the staying with the silence, or whether you're going to be curious about where your mind goes and maybe why it goes there. So hope that was helpful. Have a great day, everyone. Hope to see you tomorrow for a gratitude practice. Take care.